Hello and welcome to an absolutely miserable day here in the UK. We're being assaulted by some sort of hurricane, and I hope my internet will last long enough for me to upload this video. Now on the screen we have a puzzle created by the brilliant Sam Cappleman-Lynes, a member of the UK Sudoku team, in my opinion one of the very, very best setters of Sudoku in the world. Now Sam created the recent UK Grand Prix. So let me just find that on the screen here. Where was I looking? Here we go. These are the results, and this is the test. So, and if we have a quick flick through the test now, you'll see that, you know, all of the puzzles here, I mean, they are just beautiful. The designs are beautiful. The classic Sudokus look beautiful. You know, the shapes in the grid here, we've got UK being spelt out by the given digits in this one. Now there are some seriously hard puzzles on this test by the looks of things. So we've got the Windoku, anti-Windoku, arrow Sudoku. Now I'm going to have a look at the Thermo Sudoku today on the basis that Thermos have been quite popular on the channel recently. You can see this is an 84-point puzzle. It's the second hardest puzzle on the test. I think the whole test is out of 600 points and you have 90 minutes. So that's 6 2/3 points a minute if you want to finish the test in the time. So an 84-point puzzle, that's like 12 minutes-ish, is it? So that is a long time for a competition standard puzzle. Bear in mind, these aren't puzzles like the one we did by Kurt Hugo Schneider earlier in the week, which are, you know, mind-bendingly complicated. So this is a standard variant, so all of the competitors who want to be competitive will have seen this variant a lot of times before. They will have solved probably hundreds of Thermo Sudoku. So for a puzzle to take the world's best 12 minutes means that it's not going to be easy. Okay, tic-tac-toe Sudoku, hidden clone Sudoku, all sorts of stuff. Now what I thought I would do therefore is I've set up a Twitter poll. Now I don't know much about Twitter, let me show you. So here it is. If you go over to @cryptic on Twitter, you will find the poll here, and you can choose which of these puzzles you'd like to see us do in another video. So I'm going to cover another of these puzzles sometime next week, and you can see already I've only just posted this, but the arrow Sudoku's got a vote, the hidden clone Sudoku's got a vote. Oh no, that hidden clone looks monstrous. Don't ask us to do that. Yeah, now what else did I want to do? Oh, I wanted to look at the results, didn't I? So let's have a look at this. Look at Teet Vunk's performance here. He got all 14 puzzles done in just over an hour. So he's not going at 6 2/3 points a minute. He's going at 10 points a minute. And the gap between Teet and the next best is 12 minutes, which, you know, given that's a sort of 20% better than the next person in the field. Incredible. Now there are some household names if you're into Sudoku competition. As you go down this list here, you can see we've done a number of puzzles on the channel by Bastian. He's one of the world's very best solvers as well as setters there, coming in 4th. Kota Morinishi, 3-time World Sudoku champion at least. I hope I'm not doing him a disservice by only awarding him three titles there. So yeah, so it's fascinating stuff. I mean, and congratulations to Sam for setting the entire test. I'm not surprised though. He is a setter of absolutely world-class accomplishment. Now, where is my, let's go back over here. So here's the puzzle. So a reminder, if you've not done Thermo Sudoku before, we need to put the lowest number on any thermometer at the bulb end, and then numbers have to increase after that. Now, let's start off by just admiring this construction. I mean, this is completely absurd. There's 8 given digits and symmetrical thermometers. I mean, if you go away and take a look at thermometer Sudoku, you really will not find many instances where you have a symmetrical arrangement of thermometers. And these, what are these? Length 6 thermometers. They're not even that long. So this is a stunning looking construction, and obviously going to be a difficult puzzle. Now do take a look at it first, do have a go. You can do, all you do is click on the link under the video, and that will take you to our webpage where you can play along. And with that, let's get cracking and see how to do this. Right. How do we do this? Let's look at, okay, well, there are 3 digits that are repeated in the grid. We've got 2 1s, 2 2s, and 2 9s. Now the 9s aren't doing anything for me, so I'm going to look at 1s first. Okay, so this can't be a 1 because it's partially along a thermometer. So if ever a 1 is on the thermometer, it must always be in the bulb. So actually there's a 1 in one of those 2 squares. And therefore there's a 1 in one of those 2 squares. And we've got a symmetrical thing going on up here, look, because this can't be a 1. We can do some 1s in there and there. And now we get an interesting arrangement, sort of an X-wing on 1s in columns 4 and 6. So we know the 1s are locked into the same 2 columns in these 2 different 3x3 blocks. So the question to ask yourself if you come across a pattern like this is what about the open column? What about column 5? Where can a 1 go in column 5? Well, obviously it can't go in any of those squares, and it can't go in any of those squares. So it must be in one of those 3 positions. Right, now let me just check. Now this symmetry is weird. Like once you conclude something over here, you can immediately conclude the same thing's going to be the case over there. So we're not going to be able to do anything with 1s in these 2 boxes yet. Let's look at 2s. So 2s, that can't be a 2 because it's too far along the thermometer. So 2s are locked as well. And they're locked there. So we're going to have the same thing, aren't we? 2s can't be here because it's too far along the thermometer. Yeah, so we're going to have, so in fact the 1s and the 2s are beautifully symmetric. So again, we've got exactly the same pattern we had with the 1s, but sort of rotated round 90 degrees. So the 2s must be along there. We've done a lot of work for absolutely no digits, of course. I mean, we really have done a lot of work for no digits. So what am I meant to do to get a digit in the grid? Well, let's just have a quick look at the thermometers then. So the thermometers are of length 6. So the minimum digit I can put at one end is a 4. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. So this has to be either 1, 2, 3 or 4. So this one sees a 1. That can only be a 2, 3 or a 4. That one can only be a 2 and a 3 because that sees 2 of the first 4 digits. Okay, but this one is going to be the most interesting, I think. Now the reason I think this one's going to be the most interesting is because these 2 subsequent digits are restricted because these 2 numbers are both low. If we scan around the grid and look in the corners here, we get 1 low digit in each of these pairs, but the other digit, well, that 6 might be useful, but we know this square has to be a 1, 3 or a 4 because it can't be a 2. Now, if this is a 1, let's just think about that. If this is a 1, this square, it can't be a 2 or a 4, so it would have to be a 3 or a 5. It can't be bigger than a 5. If we try and put 6 into this position, 7, 8, 9, and there would be nothing we could put at the end of the thermometer. So that is a little bit restricted. Ah, now look at that as well. That 6 sees that square, so this can't be a 6, and we know it can't be a 7 because we'd run out of room. So this has to be a number less than 5. So that tells us, or 5, sorry, it has to be 5 or less. So given that, and it can't be a 4, this must be the 5. This is a 5, this is a 3, and that is a 1. A 1, yeah, because it can't be a 2. So we have got 3 digits in the grid. We get another 1 because of our pencil marking. And this... Okay, well, these 3 squares are all locked to a choice of 2 digits, so I'm going to enter those. This one has to be a 6 or a 7. That has to be a 7 or an 8. This has to be an 8 or a 9. 9 must be in one of those 2 squares. And let's label these up. So these have to be 6, 7, 8 or 9 in some order. So we've almost got a quadruple going across the top row. We just need one more restricted square, which we're not going to find at the moment. Right. I'm going to look at this thermometer now in the hope that some of these checking digits restrict something. So at the moment we've got 3 options for each of these positions, so let's put those in. We've got 3, 4, 5 here, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, and obviously 7, 8, 9. Now, is anything restricted? That 5 is, this 5 restricts the 5 here. Ah, now that 4, yeah, this is good. The 4 restricts that 4, look. Now, once this can't be a 4, all of a sudden we get an immediate knock-on effect, if you like, on these 3 squares. Because now I can't put a 5 into this square, because if I try and put a 5 into this square has no value that's permissible that's less than 5. So that can rule out 5 there, 6 there, and 7 there. Gives us 6, 7, 8 triple look in column 1, but let's just focus, see if we can do any better than that. No, I'm not sure I can do any better than that. I might be missing something, but I think I can get this triple. So what's that going to mean? These squares have got to be 3, 4, and 5 in some order. Let's just put that in and see if that triggers anything. Ah, yes, that gives us another triple. Oh, and that triple's useful. Let's look at this. So now we've got 3, 4, and 5 locked into 3 different squares as options in this box 7, 3 by 3. And that means we can't have a 5 in this square. If we try it, you can see if we did put a 5 in this square, these 2 squares would only have a 3, 4 as an option, and this square would also need to be a 3 or a 4, and we run out of room. So this square has to be a 6, which means this, right, so now those 3 squares are all forced. That is useful, hopefully. So now we get 9, 8, well, actually, why did I have I shouldn't have 7, 8, and 9 in this square. Oh, it's because I didn't delete the, oh, I don't know what I did, in fact. I was, for some reason, my mind was scanning this, looking as if this was on the thermometer, which it's not. So we don't have to worry about whatever I was thinking there. Now we've got a 6, 8 pair here, so this has to be 7, this has to be 9, This has to be 6. And maybe we're on decent track here. Although now I've got stuck again. So these two squares. Yeah, okay. So this 8 locks an 8 into one of those two squares. So this is now a 7 to complete the box. These two squares have got to be 2 and 5, I think. Let's get rid of the pencil marking there and there. We don't need that anymore. This can't be a 5. These two squares have got to be 3, 4 and 6 in some order. This 6, look, sees the 6 and the 8, yes. Can't put an 8 in either of those two positions on this thermometer because they're too early on. But that still leaves 3 positions for the 8 in box 3, so that's probably not the right place to focus. That can't be a 1 anymore, let's remove that. 7, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 5, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm now stuck again. Well, that can't be a 4, because if we put a 4 in there, there's nothing that would be valid into this square. So this becomes a 2 or a 3, just as its symmetrical counterpart is a 2 or a 3. 8. I've got nothing better, I think, than this thermometer, so I'm going to have a look at this thermometer. And maybe this isn't bad, because we can rule out a 5 and a 6 from that square. So this square, obviously it can be a 3. If this is a 2, this is absolutely, it could be a 3. It could be a 4, but it can't be a 5. So this only has 2 options. Now this square can be 4, there's nothing stopping it being 4, it can be 5. It can't be bigger than 5 because 6 is ruled out, and 7 would be too big because we go 8, 9, broken. So there is a little bit of a restriction along here, and this can't be 6 because of this square again. So this square has to be 5 or 7. Ooh, and that square can't be, this square can't be 8. So this has to be 6 or 7, and this has to be 8 or 9. Yeah, so how can that ever be 7? It can't be. There's no, because if I put a 7 in here, there's absolutely nothing I can put in here. I need to be able to put the 8 into this square if I put a 7 in this square. So this is not 7, this is 5. Which means this is 4, that's 3, and that's 2. And that's 2 now, yes. So again, we're able to make some deductions. Now these 4s, lock a 4 into one of those squares. Which means these two have to be the 7 and the 8. Oops, in row 2 there. So this is quite restricted. And in fact, we've got a 7 and an 8 there. So as these two squares can't be 7 and an 8, and I need a 7 and an 8 in this box, we know the 7 and the 8 are in those two positions. These two squares have got to be 5 and 9, and there's a 5 here. So 5, 9, this should be, what's that going to be, 3? Yeah. 5's here and here, lock a 5 into one of these two squares. Now 5's, this could still be 5. Okay, 5's into those two squares. And what do we do next? Six. Well, I can do that. I can fix the 5 and the 2 there, which does give me that 2 as well. So let's do that, and that locks a 5 into the central row of the grid. I can't quite limit the 1 still. The 1s can still go in 3 squares in box 6. So what am I missing here? 3s? No, 3s. 3s can go in 3 positions still. Right, okay, well I think I'm going to have to look at this thermometer. Maybe this thermometer is the way to crack the puzzle. So as usual, we know this bulb end must be a 4 or less. It can't be a 2 for those 2 reasons. So if well, actually this position is a little bit restricted because we've got a 2 and a 4 in the column. So a bit like over here with this square has to be 3 or 5, I think. Can't be any bigger than 5, and everything lower than that is not an option. So this is 3 or 5. Now, does that tell us anything? Don't know. That's 4 or 6, I suppose. It could be 6, 7, 8, 9. Could be 4. Can't be 5 because of the column. So the minimum value of this one is 5. It can be 6. And I think it can be 7. Bother. That one can't be 8, so that's 6 or 8. And this one is 7, 8 or 9. Oh Lord. Okay. So that was not as productive as I thought it was going to be. Except that does help us. So definitely have a look at this thermometer now and see if you can spot the trick. I'll tell you, the trick is in this square. Now, let's look at this. If this square is 4, what happens? We have a massive problem now with 3s, because this square is a 3, obviously. This square is a 2, therefore, and this square is a 3. And now I need to put a 3 somewhere in row 9 of the grid. Where do I put it? Obviously it can't go here because of the 3 in the box. It can't go in either of these 2 positions because of the 3 in the box. And it can't go there because of that 3. So I think that is absolutely broken, isn't it? Which is useful because that means I get a 6 here. Which of course fixes the 7, 8 and the 9. Which fixes the 7 here and the 8 and the 7, which fixes the 7 here and the 1 here. And are we on the right track now? Yes, maybe. 1, 1. Have I discovered the trick that breaks the puzzle? That's the question. 3, 5, 6. This can't be 3 anymore because this can't be 1, so that's got to be 5. So now you can see that where can 5 go in this box? It can only go down in that corner. 3, 4 pair. These squares have got to be 3, 4 and 8. Therefore that one I think can only be a 3. These have to be 4 and 8. Don't yet know how that's resolving itself, but this 3 sees the 3, 4 pair over here and gives us a 4 on the thermometer. 4 on the thermometer still doesn't quite disambiguate this square. Now what do we need into those two squares? 1 and 5, is that? Yeah. Let's get rid of the 1s. 1, 5. 2, 4, 8 into these squares. Ah, the 8 must be here now. 8, 2. That does disambiguate the 3. The square must be 6. These two squares have got to be 2 and 4, which is resolvable because of the 2 at the top. The 4 resolves the 4 and the 1. That resolves the 1 and the 5. Locks a 5 into one of those two squares, presumably. And the 8 must go in one of those two squares. We've got a 5, 8, 9 triple, which we can't quite resolve. But I'm hopeful now that we've almost broken the back of this. You can see we've got a 6, 7 pair in column 8. This square is very nice, isn't it? Because if we look at column 9, we need 3, 4 and 8 to complete the column. Look over there, we've got a 4 and an 8, so this is a 3, 4, 8, 4. That fixes the 3 and the 6, which fixes the 6 and the 7. I have no clue how Sam comes up with these puzzles. I mean, it really is something else to create something this minimalist, but it's beautiful and it's absolutely solvable. It's not easy, but it is solvable. 8. Therefore you can see that's got to be 8, 9, 5 in this order. Now the 5 can only go here. And we're left with 2 and 9, I think, into the middle. So hopefully, if I haven't butchered this, I can do that. Yes, that's how to do it. So I hope you got it too. That's an 84-point puzzle from a Grand Prix, so it's, as I say, pretty difficult unless you're Teep Vunk. And do remember to vote in the Twitter poll, please. That would be most interesting. And we'll be back soon with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic. I should also say, actually, a quick boast. Sam's puzzles do feature in our classic Sudoku app. So if you do try this Grand Prix test and you think you enjoy the content, then there is more available from our app. See you soon.